Doncaster Rovers currently sit joint third in the League 2 table, and after last season's playoff heartbreak, this season they are looking to go one better, and in today's video we're going to find out how McCann has transformed this Doncaster Rovers side and taken them to the next level. We saw last season Doncaster go on that amazing run with the likes of a home win against Tranmere, the abomination of Grimsby Town away from home, then a comfortable win against Wimbledon, a disappointing defeat against Walsall, a decent point away at Bradford City, a home win against Crewe, an away win against Swindon, a home win against Forest Green, which could have been a banana skin, away to Crawley with 10 men and picked up all 3 points, home to eventual promoted Wrexham and picked up a win and a clean sheet, a comfortable win in a banana skin match against Morecambe, another 3 points against Walsall, a demolition against Accrington, comfortably beating Barrow as well, a demolition of Colchester, a decent point away at Gillingham with 10 men, and that obviously took them into the playoffs. They went into the first leg away at Crewe. Not many teams will go away to Crewe, keep a clean sheet and win 2-0. Then obviously they kind of bottled it in the second leg. Keeper Doolican missed a penalty, and Crewe did end up going on to go to Wembley, where they were then beaten by Crawley Town. But as we can see, they do currently sit 4th in the League 2 table, level on points with 3rd place Crewe. Obviously they were battling with last season. They have played a game more than the Railwaymen, but you look at their recent form, they turn a couple of them frustrating draws into wins, and who knows where Doncaster could end up finishing. We saw the run that went on last season, but let's find out why they have been so successful so far this campaign. The best place is probably to start out with the recruitment, and then they brought in the likes of Jordan Gibson from Carlisle, who was one of their better performers in League 1 last campaign. Billy Sharp returned to the football club. He kind of made his name at Doncaster Rovers, and he's not had a bad start to the season so far. I think Josh Emmanuel came in just as a bit of cover. Don't see him playing all too much. Joseph Barra came in with a lot of promise from Solihull Moors, but we've not really seen too much of him. Harry Clifton, very versatile midfielder, can play in the middle or out wide. He came in for an undisclosed fee. Tom Nixon has had his injury problems, but he's come in for an undisclosed fee from Hull City. And then some of their loan recruits as well have been very good. Teddy Sharman-Lowe, been very impressed with him so far this season on loan from Chelsea. Brandon Fleming offers you quite a lot as well in that left back position, but there is kind of a lot of competition there at the moment with the likes of Jack Senior and who's the other left back? Maxwell? Is it James Maxwell? Who obviously they're kind of all competing for the same spot. Patrick Kelly as well in the midfield. He's looked a very tidy player so far, and Ephraim Yeboah hasn't quite worked out for him, in all honesty. And in terms of their departures, I do think they did some quite shrewd business in the summer. Obviously they had a couple loan players like Timothy Lotatala and Hakiba Doolican who decided to not return to the football club, but Teddy Sharman-Lowe is an improvement on Timothy Lotatala, in my opinion. And have they really replaced Hakiba Doolican? I wouldn't say so, but we're seeing Luke Molyneux, Kyle Hurst, them type of players really come to life this season. I know Molyneux was pretty decent last campaign, but even this season he's gone to another height. And they finally let go of the likes of John Taylor, who was very injury prone, wasn't he, throughout his time with Doncaster. Harrison Biggins thought he was too good for Doncaster, made the step up to Shrewsbury, then they got rid of him to Carlisle so they could bring in Alex Gilead. Didn't really understand that. Liam Ravenhill, who still tackles like a fanny, got released and was sent to Buxton. They also had the likes of Charlie Seaman go out of the club. George Miller, they sold to fellow League 2 side Cheltenham, and he's not really kicked on so far this season. Deji Satana was sold as well, and we saw some more experienced players like Colin Lavely retire. Maxime Biamu, who came in towards the back end of last season, was released. Tommy Rowe as well was also let go. The standards are very high at Doncaster Rovers this season, and that is why they're absolutely flying and currently sat 4th in the table. If we have a look though specifically at how Doncaster Rovers are going about their business and managing to beat teams, going away to Bradford City and being the first team to beat them at Valley Parade so far this season, it's not an easy task, but they made it look pretty comfortable in the end. At times when my team Bradford were building pressure, Doncaster just managed to see it through, get past that momentum, and eventually Doncaster would be successful in their game plan, which was clear for all to see, to hit us on the counter-attack. And you look at the amount of chances that they created, to be an away side against the biggest stadium, the biggest attendance in the division, and have 20 shots, that is massive credit to McCann's side. And if we have a look at how they kind of went about doing that business, they tried to match us up and play at a back three. You can see the 3 centre-backs here, the wing-backs being 2 and 3, 8 and 17 being the midfielders, and then 14 is actually Billy Sharp, the striker. Kyle Hurst is slightly ahead of him, but look how advanced Luke Molyneux was. it was clear to see that they wanted Billy Sharp to drop in and feed Hurst and Molineux in them inside forward positions. And you look at the kind of problems that it caused us in terms of when we were trying to go forward. You can see our back three, our wing backs, Smallwood as the holding midfielder, and then you've got Walker, and the number that you can't even see, I think, was Bobby Poynton, number 23. Him, Smith and Cook are all basically stood on top of each other, and that largely goes down to Jay McGrath, and I think it was Jack Senior, the left centre-back, who kind of isolated Andy Cook, and then Smith and Poynton weren't really involved in the action all too much. If you look at how Doncaster were creating their chances, a lot of them were coming down the side of Luke Molineux, as you would expect, one of the best players in this division, but they also had that ability to go down the middle or down the left side, which is where both their goals came from in the second half. We saw the quality of Kyle Hurst really come alive in that second period. In terms of where their shots were being taken from, 65% in the middle. As I've mentioned a couple of times previously in similar type of these videos for other clubs, you're going to score more chances if you're having more shots down the middle, because the angle of the goal is obviously much more to aim at, but they can also go down in these wide positions, whereas Bradford City, we really struggled to create anything down our left side, which has been a big problem for us for quite a lot so far this season. In terms of where a lot of their shots were taken, 15% inside the 6-yard box is pretty solid, 50% inside the 18-yard box, and only 35% outside of the penalty area. If you're looking to hit a team on the counter, which is Doncaster's game plan, to only have 35% of your shots outside the box, I do think is very positive sign. To look at us, we had 62% of shots inside the 18-yard box, but just didn't really do much with it. And in terms of where a lot of the ball was, you can see it was largely in the Doncaster third, but the hitters on the counter, they defended our needless possession and they got the job done. They came out of there with the 3 points, and I have to say it was definitely deserved. Next, we'll have a look at their 0-0 draw away at Carlisle. I watched quite a lot of this game, and I must say that it was kind of end-to-end. Both sides had some chances. It looked like Carlisle were going to win the game late on, but it was very clear to see Georgie Kelly did interfere with play, and he was offside when he touched the ball. But Doncaster had a lot more shots. I know Carlisle are a team who've struggled in terms of getting results, but away from home, it's not the easiest of places to go to because their pitch is so massive, and they want to play a very possession-based style. But you look at where Doncaster were creating a lot of their chances, it was down their left side, and while Kyle Hurst can be a decent player at this level, Luke Molineux is obviously the bigger threat, and they weren't really going through him enough like what they should be doing for me. In terms of their shot directions, a lot of their chances are coming down the middle, but they just weren't converting them. Like I say, 15 shots in total. I don't know how many were on target, but to have 15 shots away from home and a lot of them coming down the middle, again, it is more positive signs. While there is the frustration of the 0-0 draw, the positive signs there for all to see. This is where there are a few problems for me though. They're having shots inside this 18-yard box, but none inside the 6-yard box. And I know Carlisle at times did defend a little bit deep, but they're not getting that final pass right, or they didn't in this game, which is obviously going to build up a little bit of frustration from the fans. And even in terms of the action zone, a lot of the ball was in that Carlisle third, which I'm not too sure if that's because they were dominating pointless possession or Doncaster were having consistent pressure, but whichever way you look at it, I still do think that is positive signs that Doncaster are not really having to do much defending. And the structure a little bit for Doncaster was kind of all over the place for this game. You can see the left centre-back and left wing-back basically stood on top of each other. Billy Sharp and Luke Molineux also basically stood on top of each other. And the two central midfielders, which I think was Bailey and Kelly, I could be wrong. If I am, correct me down in the comment section down below. They're basically stood on top of each other as well. And that kind of makes it hard to really build up good quality chances when all your players are basically stood on top of each other, like I've mentioned a few times. The last game we'll have a look at then is Doncaster's 2-1 win away at Swindon. I think they scored a last-minute penalty in at this game. I think I'm right in saying former Cambridge man Joe Ironside tucked that spot kick away. But Swindon have struggled a little bit so far this season, but it could have potentially been a bit of a banana skin. But sides who get promotion go to teams like Swindon who are struggling in the table and they put them to the sword. Even when they don't play amazing, they get the job done. A lot of Doncaster's attack did again come down the left hand side, which might have been why they struggled a little bit, but I think certainly opposition teams will know Luke Molineux is a very big threat, so at times double up on him, triple up on him if you can, and that kind of does free up the space for a Kyle Hurst, a Jordan Gibson, whoever's playing in that left kind of inside forward position to really thrive. And at times it's worked, at times it hasn't. So a lot of the ball was coming down their left hand side. In terms of the shot directions, again, a decent proportion down the middle, maybe far too many down that left-hand side, but only 7% down the side where Luke Molyneux's playing. That is certainly a little bit concerning for me. In terms of the shot zone as well, a little bit more balanced in this game. Quite a lot of shots outside the box, maybe out of frustration. They were struggling to get inside that Swindon penalty area. You look at Swindon, they had 63% of their shots inside the 18-yard box compared to Doncaster, who only had the 36%. In terms of the action zones as well, a lot of the ball for the large part was in the home third, which again, very similar to the Carlisle game. Was that down to Swindon having a lot of needless possession, or was it down to Doncaster having a lot of momentum? You look at the shots, Doncaster were clearly the better of the two sides, but one thing that I did find interesting was the player positions. Doncaster's formation and structure here seems to be a little bit all over the place, but then you look at Swindon, theirs also seems to be a little bit all over the place as well. So I guess it's kind of swings and roundabouts for both sides. Maybe they were constantly changing formation and trying to one-up each other. It didn't really quite work, and it now just looks like both teams were kind of told, you go stand on the pitch and we'll see what you can do. I can't really tell you what formation either team are playing. I'd hazard a guess that Swindon are playing a 5-4-1, but I could be wrong. It could be a 4-5-1. I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at the numbers here for the Doncaster side, and am I right in saying there's no fullbacks in this team? 25 and 5, I think, are McGrath and Olowu. 17, I'm pretty sure, is Owen Bailey. So did he play at centre half? 8 must be a midfielder. 11, I think, is Jordan Gibson. You got Luke Molyneux, Billy Sharp, and I think Joe Ironside kind of all stood on top of each other. I've no idea what this formation was. I'd love to know, Doncaster fans, what did you actually play in this game against Swindon? Because it's absolutely bonkers. But like I say, Doncaster Rovers have that knack. They know how to get the 3 points and how to get over the line. Go away to a team like Bradford and pick up all 3 points. Go away to a team like Swindon, very contrasting in terms of the two teams so far this season, and they get 3 points even when they don't play well. Doncaster Rovers know how to win football matches, and that is a big positive. Yes, it's not been perfect, and recently there has been frustration creeping in, but Grant McCann is definitely the man to take Doncaster Rovers back into England's third tier. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below.